Recording in progress.
Hey caregivers, welcome to Clear Day. I'm Kristen. I'm glad you're here. You guys are doing one of the most important jobs in the world, and I'm sure you know it's getting more and more important the older and older our population gets, and the more and more things like dementia and Parkinson's, serious arthritis, strokes, heart attacks, all of those diseases of aging. So you guys are their partner, their helper, their arms, their legs, their eyes, their brain. You're there to help them just live the best day that they can. So we at Clear Day are also caregivers, and therefore we know just because it's rewarding doesn't mean that it's not a hard job at times. You might have a perfect day one day, and then the next day you're tearing your hair out. Somebody's upset, they are wandering, they're sundowning, they are angry, frustrated, anxious, all kind of things. And then you guys, you're there and you have to manage that, and you guys have to get through this day together. So for those days when things are not smooth, we have something for you. As caregivers, we have residential and we have day facilities, and what is common in those are activities programs. So you guys are still caregivers, but you don't have an activities program. You are on your own. You are the nursing assistant, you're the activities director, you are the cook, the errand runner, you're the secretary, you're everything. So we wanted to take one piece of that and give it to you so that you don't have to do as much on your own. So that's what Clear Day at Home is. We are a mobile virtual activities service for you and your client. And we want to use all the things that we've learned to make your day both easier and more fun. Then on the other side, for the client, we want to make their day easier, more fun, and also beneficial. We want to give them meaningful activities, engagement, stimulation, things that are created especially for them and their level. As you know, your folks with cognitive deficits especially are very likely to have difficulty focusing, difficulty starting activities, difficulty concentrating. These can lead to boredom, frustration, irritation, and all of that can lead to the things that we have called behaviors in the past. And by those we mean things like anger, aggression, paranoia, hallucinations, wandering, sundowning, hoarding, all of that stuff. Repeated questions, that's one that it can be particularly frustrating if you've got someone doing that all day long. So what is the best way to prevent that stuff? The best way to prevent that stuff is to keep them engaged and keep them stimulated. Since they are having difficulty doing their old hobbies, doing things for themselves, that is something that falls on us as the caregiver. So what you can do with the Clear Day at Home program is turn it on. We'll show you how to use it in a separate video. You can start with the recommended daily activities, and from there you can surf the whole platform. You can determine what kind of activities they like, and you can put them on. You can play as many as you want. You can play as much variety as you want, but you've got a whole activities program in a box. You can use it as a tool for you to be engaged with them, or you can use it as a tool to get their attention where you can go get something else done. Because I know some days you've got all these things that you need to do. You need to do some things around the house, or cook, or do an errand, or write your daily notes, or go to the bathroom. So what we have developed is this tool for you to use to have more engagement for them, so therefore better demeanor and temperament from them, and more free time for you to be able to get other stuff done. So what we're going to do is go through a series of little tips to help you get started, right? Because in some cases, people with dementia, maybe people without dementia also have trouble starting new things, and they're often resistant. A lot of those folks probably feel like they don't want to try something new because they know, some things are getting difficult for them. So it can sound a little bit like, well, I don't know if they're going to do that. And you might be having that feeling or a little bit of apprehension. So we're going to go through a series that you can do in order of tips of how to get somebody to try something new and to be successful and to participate in it. So keep tuning in. This is going to be great for all of you, the family, the client, and yourself. And so join us for the next few talks, and they'll be real quick. And we will get going and start all of you guys on an easier and a more fun day. Hi, I'm Kristen, and thanks for coming to Clear Day. And I first want to talk about routines. I feel certain that all of you guys know when you're working with somebody with cognitive deficits that it is much better to keep things in a routine and keep on the same schedule. A lot of times that's easier said than done. They are not able to pay attention. They aren't able to track time. They aren't able to sequence. So all of that stuff is up to you. And the more of a routine you can get in, the better things will be. The family may already have an established routine for that person. Or if they don't, it would be a great idea for you to start implementing that. And we want you to be able to use the Clear Day at Home activities to start helping that day have more structure, okay? So most places, if you've worked, in a residential community of some sort or in a day facility of some sort, you know that those days are very structured, right? You always will have a meal, and then all the rest of the time between the meals, we're going to have some structured activities, as well as, you've got to get your ADLs done and that sort of thing. But if you make it a meal, an activity, your meal, and then the end of your day, you're going to have less sundowning, you're going to have less anger, anxiety, all of those types of things. And if you can get it to where you're kind of doing it at the same time every day, they'll get into that routine, and things will be just much smoother, and they'll be able to participate a lot better because they'll be used to it. And so there will be benefits all around. So the next couple of sections will give you some tips to get them going and then keep them going. So Clear Day at Home, tip 1. How are you going to get this person to try something totally new? The very first and most important thing is to be enthusiastic. So you want this to seem to them like a fun thing that they want to try. So your facial expression, your hand gestures, your tone of voice, your wording that you use sound excited. Now, of course, there are certain people that don't really like you to be too chipper, right? I've had some folks like that. So, don't go too far on that side if you have one of those a little bit crabbier people. But for instance, rather than saying, all right, Helen, it's time to try this new computer program. It's for people with dementia, and I think you'll like it. Helen probably won't even hear half of what you said, and it didn't sound very fun, so she'll just continue doing whatever it was she was doing. Instead, say something like, Helen, I found a really neat thing last night, and I want to show it to you. Come on over here, let's look at it. Something along those lines, just something enthusiastic. Helen, this thing I tried is really fun. I think you'll like it. Come on over here and let's start. Okay, so you get the idea. Sound happy about it, even if you're nervous and you don't think they're going to do it. Enthusiasm and a bright demeanor, and that works for other things, by the way, too, like showering or medicines. We'll do the whole separate talk on that. All right, try that first. Okay, step 2 for starting Clear Day at home activities. This one is be creative. Similar to the first one, you don't want to just go in with a blah description or maybe even an accurate description of this program is created for, older folks that have cognitive deficits. Remember, most of our folks that do have cognitive deficits don't know that they have them. Okay, so if you go ahead and tell them that this program is for people like that, they'll be like, well, I don't need that, I'm fine, right? So instead, you want to be creative in your description. And let's say you're going to start off with like a brain game or an exercise or a craft. You can think about their interests that you already know about, and then describe it as something like that. Say, Helen, I found a great cooking show yesterday. Let's look at it. Or Helen, I know you like the group exercises. I joined a new club. Let's try that together. Anything like that. Just be creative in the description of describe the activity that you want them to do, not that it's a computer program or anything like that. Just say, hey, I found this new thing on TV or on my computer. Let's do it. All right, so that makes sense, huh? Okay, try that next. Okay, Clear Day at home tip number 3. Suggest, don't ask. Or you could say it rather, don't ask, suggest. Okay, anybody out there ever get a great response to when you ask somebody, Helen, do you want to take a shower now? Probably not. Who wants to take a shower when they could sit around? So the same thing with this or any other activity is don't ask them if they'd like to try it, but suggest that they'd like to try it, all right? So you're being enthusiastic, you're being creative, and now you're just gonna suggest. So Helen, hey, let's try this new exercise video I found. I did it last night and I felt great. You're gonna like it. So you can see all of these things are similar, right? And they all tie together. But again, don't ask. And this holds true for lots of other things too, like taking medicine, drinking water, eating, going to bed, taking a shower, all of those things. We have separate videos on those. But again, apply that same principle and just suggest it in a positive way. All right, that's your next step. Tip 4, you're making progress. You have gotten them to start and take a look at this video with you. So what our goal is for you in the long run is to get them to where they can engage with it on their own, okay? That will give you some time, that will rest your brain a little bit, and it'll be good for them. But as you know, to get somebody used to something new, it takes a little while. In the beginning, the most important thing to do after you get going is to start by doing it with them. Okay, now that's not your end goal, right? Your end goal is that you could get them to do it on their own. They probably won't ever be able to turn it on and navigate the buttons, but they will be able to follow and engage once you get it going. But since it's new and these things can be intimidating for people whose, their thought processes aren't working the same as yours, go ahead and do it with them and make it something fun, okay? For instance, we had a member and she never in a million years thought that he would do the program and participate. He had withdrawn when he got diagnosed. He was quiet, he was unengaged, he was sitting around, and in desperation, she just signed him up. And the first couple times he'd say, what is this? He didn't want to do it, but she sat down and they did the interactions together. These were live sessions. And after a time or two, he loved it. She was able then to get an hour or 2 hours completely to herself where she wasn't having to, take care of his every need because he was engaged, he was stimulated, he was having fun. And she said, I would walk by the room, he was laughing, I could hear him talking, he hasn't talked to people in ages. And so, start doing it with them and then wean yourself out and see, how long they can do it without you. And then eventually you should be able to wean out all the way once you find out what they like and what they participate well in, and get some free time for yourself and some good stimulation for them. All right, go give it a try. Okay, tip number 5 for clear day at home. This tip is be persistent. This goes along a little bit with the do it with them, in the sense of it's a new activity. They have to get used to it, and they aren't going to be able to give you a lot of description. They might say, oh yeah, I like that. That was fun. They might not know. They might not be able to word it. So you're going to kind of have to figure out if they like it, don't like it. And so should you pursue it or should you try a new one? So being persistent is kind of like, you start a new one, they may not immediately sit through the whole hour. They may need you to do it with them, and they may need you to keep drawing their attention back to the activity, right? So you know how it's very easy for these people to get distracted and look at that or mess with this, walk over there. And so your goal is to bring them back to that activity. So let's say Helen starts fiddling with the blanket, even though she was doing, the exercises with you. And bring her attention back. Don't just assume she doesn't like it. We don't know yet. We have to get used to it first. So, say, Helen, hey, you're missing this one. This one's great. Come on, let's do this one, marching or whatever. It could be a song, it could be a craft, it could be bingo. But it's okay to draw their attention back, right? They don't realize that they've wandered. And so when you bring them back, it's like, oh yeah, look at that, that's fun. And they'll re-engage. You want to try and keep them in there a little bit longer each time. But again, be positive and creative in getting them back in. Don't be a nag, all right? Okay, good luck with that step. Okay, step 6, be flexible. Alrighty, so you have sort of a recommended starting point that we send you every day, and you guys can turn that on and you can try it. If it is not something that they like, don't worry. Right below that, you can go to See Full Library and you can pick out the stuff that you know that they like. Is it a craft? Is it a brain game? Is it a puzzle? Is it trivia? Is it music? Is it movies? Whatever, the kind of things that they start to engage with. And you'll learn, as you go along, because you'll see that when they start, leaning in and talking back to the screen and all that sort of thing. So don't worry about the guidelines that come, or if you start one and you can tell they don't like it, you don't have to finish it. You can move on and find a new category. There'll be a little lesson of how things are sorted and how you can find them on there. So be flexible with it. Again, the last step, be persistent. Go through that activity a little bit and make sure that it's not that they don't like it, that kind of thing, right? If they don't like it, move on. But if it's just that they keep needing you to remind them to pay attention, do that first. But the flexibility, you can navigate it in any way and in any way that works for your client. You know them, you know their likes, and you know their triggers. So work along those frameworks and find stuff that keeps them happy, fun, and engaged, okay? Okay, tip 7, be open to trying new things. So here's an example from a residential type situation. A lot of times when there's a new person moving in, they haven't been at home with an activities program. This is a whole new thing. Their kids are always so nervous. They're not, guilty. They're not doing the right thing. Mom's going to hate it here. And then when it comes to the activities things and they're asking questions, like, did they like crafts? Did they like sports? Blah, blah, blah. Things will come up where the kids will be like, oh my God, my mom would never do that. Like, she's going to hate that, whatever it might be, bingo, right? That mom thought that was, for kids or something like that. So then of course the activities directors just try everything and see what engages people. And then the kids come back 2 weeks later and see that, mom has played bingo every day for 2 hours, or mom has, made all of this artwork, and they've never seen her do artwork in their lives. So again, this is a new thing for this person. You don't know exactly, which one they're going to engage with. And so just be open to trying them and talking to their family as well, about your findings. Like, did they always like the crafts, or they like the songs better, or they really like, the hard questions in the brain games. So you just never know. So let people try new things and just experiment, and you'll be able to find what they like, what they don't like, and what holds their attention the longest. So those are your tips to get them going, get them engaged, and to keep them engaged. Use these. It will benefit you tremendously. You can relax a little bit. You don't have to come up with a new thing to do every 15 minutes. You might be in the house with them 4 hours a day, or it could be 24 hours a day. And either way, depending on your client, that can be a lot of time to fill. So we want to help you with that. Use the program, experiment with it, understand, just like everything, it takes a little while for things to start working, for them to get used to it. But once you do, it's going to be great for them, okay? It's good for their brain, it's good for their behavior and their temperament. Therefore, it's good for you because your day is a little bit more peaceful. And it's good for the family because you are now a great caregiver. Not that you weren't before, but let's say you can use some of these techniques to get somebody to be less angry in the evening, or be less paranoid, or be, less sundowning and wandering, all of those things that are difficult, not just for you, but for the family and for that person. So this is just such a great tool to help all of you guys. So thanks for giving it a try. And if you have feedback, you can certainly let us know. And we're very excited for both you and your client. So you all have a great day.